Let's talk about car prices, specifically the current state of affairs in the automotive market, because frankly they're out of control. We're seeing numbers that would have seemed unbelievable just a few years ago. It's a wild ride for anyone in the market for a new or used vehicle. Walk onto a dealership lot today and prepare for a bit of sticker shock, and you'll see a Honda Civic priced like a luxury car, blurring the lines between economy and premium. What was once an affordable option is now commanding a significantly higher price point. Or a Ford F-150 costing as much as a house in some places. The price of trucks in particular has skyrocketed, making the dream of owning a reliable workhorse a much more expensive proposition. The old days of haggling thousands off the sticker price? Gone. Forget about those deep discounts. Negotiation is a completely different ballgame now. So what happened? What series of events led to this dramatic shift in the car market? The car market flipped upside down after 2020. It's a story of disruption, scarcity, and unprecedented demand. Before everything was predictable, a well-oiled machine of supply and demand. New models, discounts on old ones, and plenty of used cars readily available. Consumers had the upper hand, with choices galore and competitive pricing. But a perfect storm, a confluence of unfortunate circumstances, pandemic, economic shifts, and changing habits, all collided to create the situation we're in today. Created a market that now favors sellers, giving dealerships and manufacturers significant leverage. Suddenly factories couldn't get parts, particularly crucial microchips. Production stalled, assembly lines ground to a halt, and the supply of new vehicles dwindled rapidly. And new cars vanished from lots, leaving dealerships with empty spaces and frustrated customers. Scarcity replaced abundance, flipping the script entirely. Now you might wait months just to get the color you want, or even longer for a specific model. This shift is the root of today's high prices and dealer markups, as they capitalize on limited supply and high demand. The strategies that worked 5 years ago? Obsolete. They simply won't cut it in this new reality. To survive as a buyer, you need to understand just how much the landscape has changed, and adapt your approach accordingly. It's a whole new ballgame out there. So, what's at the heart of all this chaos in the car market? What's driving these crazy prices and empty dealership lots? It all boils down to the fundamental economic principle of supply and demand. A tale as old as time, but with a modern twist in the automotive world. Back in 2020 and 2021, remember those stimulus checks? People suddenly had extra cash in their pockets, ready to spend. And with concerns about public transportation, many wanted the safety and security of their own personal transportation. So everyone rushed to buy cars, creating a surge in demand the likes of which the industry hadn't seen in years. But just as this buying frenzy hit, automakers were struggling to keep up. They simply couldn't build enough cars to meet the soaring demand. New car lots emptied out at an alarming rate, leaving dealerships with barely any inventory. With new cars scarce, buyers flooded the used car market, intensifying the competition. Suddenly a 3-year-old Camry, a reliable but hardly exotic vehicle, cost just as much as a brand new one. And in some extreme cases, used cars were even selling for more than their original sticker price when they were new. Imagine a grocery store with only 30 loaves of bread available, but 150 hungry customers eager to buy them. The prices would skyrocket in an instant. And that's precisely what happened in the car market, creating a perfect storm of high demand and limited supply. But this wasn't just a local phenomenon. It was happening on a global scale, impacting car markets worldwide. Suddenly, there were 5 eager buyers vying for every single car available. This imbalance of power meant that sellers, the dealerships, held all the cards in the negotiation process. Discounts, once a common practice, completely disappeared from the table. And instead markups, those extra charges added to the sticker price, became the new norm. Dealers could freely add on various fees, knowing that buyers were desperate enough to accept them. They knew that someone, somewhere, was willing to pay the inflated price just to get their hands on a vehicle. This fierce competition among buyers all vying for a limited number of cars is the primary reason why car shopping feels so drastically different and significantly more expensive today than it did just a few years ago. This fundamental imbalance between supply and demand is the powerful engine driving the surge in car prices. Until the supply of new cars can finally catch up with the overwhelming demand, we can expect the car market to remain challenging and competitive for the foreseeable future. Why aren't there enough cars? It all comes down to supply chain chaos, especially semiconductor chips. Modern cars need thousands of chips, but when the pandemic hit, automakers canceled chip orders, expecting low demand. Meanwhile, chip makers shifted to electronics as people bought laptops and game consoles. When car demand returned, automakers were at the back of the line. Massive factories sat idle waiting for chips. Parking lots filled with unfinished cars, just missing a few parts. Building new chip factories takes years, so the shortage dragged on. And it wasn't just chips. Shortages hit wiring, plastics, even paint. Shipping delays and rising logistics costs made things worse. Every part of the car building process was disrupted. The result, automakers couldn't return to normal production for a long time. Now let's talk about dealer markups, the most infuriating part for buyers. You see a car online at MSRP, but at the dealership there's a market adjustment sticker adding thousands more. Dealers do this because demand is sky high and supply is low. They're not required to sell at MSRP, so they charge what the market will bear. Sometimes they bundle markups with overpriced extras you don't want. The price you see is rarely the price you pay, so be ready to negotiate or walk away. Dealer markups are a direct result of today's low-supply, high-demand market. So, who exactly is to blame for these sky-high car prices we're seeing? There's really no single villain in this story. Automakers miscalculated the market, canceling chip orders and primarily focusing on those high-profit models, ultimately leaving fewer affordable options available. Dealerships, meanwhile, added huge markups to vehicles, damaging trust and relationships with buyers. The global supply chain proved incredibly fragile. One disruption, and the whole system completely stalled. Economic factors such as low interest rates and those stimulus checks fueled demand. It's a perfect storm: corporate missteps, dealer opportunism, fragile systems, and underlying economic forces. Everyone played a significant part in creating this mess. The result, a car market that's incredibly tough for buyers everywhere. The car market can feel like a maze right now, with prices fluctuating and inventory sometimes limited. But don't despair. You're not powerless in this situation. You can still navigate these challenges and drive away with a great deal. First, expand your search parameters. Look at dealerships far beyond your immediate hometown. Widen your radius. You might be surprised at the deals you find just a short drive away. And be sure to get quotes online from multiple dealerships. This exposes hidden markups that some dealers might try to slip in, and it creates healthy competition among dealers vying for your business. Be flexible in your preferences. Consider different models within your desired vehicle class, trims, or even colors to uncover better deals and incentives. Sometimes a slight change in your wish list can lead to significant savings. Think seriously about factory ordering a car directly from the manufacturer. It requires patience, as you'll have to wait for the car to be built, but you can often lock in a favorable price and avoid those frustrating last-minute dealer markups. Also, strongly consider exploring the used car market. Prices in the used sector are generally cooling down faster than those of brand-new vehicles, offering potential savings, and a well-maintained used car, especially one that's only a few years old, can represent an exceptional value proposition. Most importantly of all, be prepared to walk away from the negotiating table if a deal doesn't feel right, or if the dealer is being unreasonable. Don't rush into any decisions. Patience and thorough preparation are your most valuable tools in this process. The willingness to confidently say no to a bad deal is, without a doubt, your greatest source of negotiating power. Remember, there will always be another car out there, and another dealership willing to work with you. So, arm yourself with knowledge, stay patient, and make the market work for you, instead of the other way around. Will car prices ever go back to normal? Eventually, but normal will look different. The chip shortage is easing, and car production is ramping up. Dealership lots are filling again. As supply grows, prices will cool, and used car values are already dropping. Don't expect a sudden crash. Manufacturers have learned to keep inventories lean and prices higher. Cars are also more expensive to build now, with advanced tech and safety features. The worst of the price hikes is likely behind us. Power is shifting back to buyers with more choices and better deals ahead. Relief is on the horizon for frustrated car shoppers.